Just going to wait for a few people to join here, Courtney, and we will get
All
started.
right.
Look for that link
Feeling the
on my
pressure.
profile.
Let's see.
It should show up here.
There it is.
Perfect. Perfect. And just retweet that, and we'll be good to go. Make sure it's showing up on my end as well. Yep. Perfect. All right. Wait another 20 seconds, and we will get started. Everything's here. I will edit this tonight and have this out. You're on iTunes podcast, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm an Apple Music. I'm
Okay.
on
Okay.
Spotify.
Oh, so you didn't get the
So,
Warp playlist then, didn't you?
I did not. I did not.
Oh. Yeah. Oh my God. Everybody was showing theirs. I thought it was awesome. I mean, I've had Spotify for like 5 years. It's been a while. So
I think
really
so.
enjoy it.
My deal is every year for Christmas from a certain family member, I get an iTunes gift card.
Yeah.
And that's, like those aren't really things anymore. So, but
Yeah,
you
that is
can use
true.
them to pay for your annual, like your Apple Music subscription.
Oh,
So,
okay. I did not know
yeah,
that. Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Because
How,
it's one of those things where I don't want to can't bring myself to be like, hey, no one used these.
yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
I hear you.
Oh
I hear
God,
you.
because my love language is gifts. So it's one of those things where it's like it would
Uh,
crush me if someone was like, hey, that's not relevant anymore.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this episode. Guys, welcome back to episode 92 of Titos&Chicken, your unofficial South Carolina Gamecocks podcast, coming at you with a low country state of mind. Guys, I got a special guest here, all the way from the West Coast. I got Courtney with me. Courtney, what's going on, girl?
Hey, I'm just so excited to be included. I tweeted your link out and my quote tweet says, "Come see how famous I am now."
Yeah.
For getting to be on here. So I'm
Oh
thrilled. I'm thrilled to
man,
be a part.
so glad to have you. It's funny because I've honestly wanted you on earlier in the season, but we just had so many different special guests coming on and this and that, so it's kind of hard. So I was just like, you know what?
I
I
get
got
it.
her
I'm
this.
an afterthought. It's
I
fine.
don't stop. You're here now with us, so that's all that matters. Guys, Lindsay is under the weather. She is going to be out obviously for this episode, but she will be back here in 2 weeks with us. Yeah, y'all know the deal. Also, just like, subscribe, comment, continue to help us get this podcast out there. We would greatly appreciate it. We are on YouTube now as well. We're everywhere, so you got no excuse. So try
Right.
to help us get this out there, guys. Would love that. um Diving into this episode, we're gonna do a Gamecocks report card. We kind of wanted to, talk about the season, which is not over yet. We still got another game to go, but the regular season is over. So we want to just break it down for you a little bit, give out our grades per position. We're going to start with the offense. Quarterbacks, Courtney, what letter grade did you give the quarterbacks?
Okay, so since I am calling from California, I figured I would
Mhm.
do a little bit of a hippy dippy kind of California spin on this. I don't
Okay.
believe in letter grades anymore. I think letter grades are a little too judgmental. they,
Okay.
they
All right.
they put too much pressure on the student, that sort of thing. So I'm going to use a mastery grading scale. And
Okay.
for the quarterbacks, what I have is it's a combination since we've seen three quarterbacks this year. We've got a combination of demonstrates competency with a potential for improvement. So I guess that would
Okay.
probably translate to like a B minus. One of the biggest
Hmm.
things that I noticed, oh gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Say it nicely,
Think about
or
no. It's just I want to say it because I don't, and I think it's so funny because I relate so deeply to Shane Beamer anytime he says something in
yeah.
a press conference and goes, "Now don't misconstrue that to mean that I think so and so isn't a good quarterback."
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I think so for Luke Doty, considering the level of health that he was this year, and we don't know for sure how healthy or injured he was.
Yeah.
He definitely has the potential for improvement. And I think that next year, I think or even, yeah, I would say next year he could
Yeah.
be the SEC caliber quarterback that we were kind of wanting to see this year. Zeb
Okay.
Noland was great for Zeb Noland to me served the purpose that he was meant to serve. And that's the way that I will
Yeah.
put that.
Yeah.
And then
Won us 2
Jason
games.
Brown, right. And then Jason Brown came in and just, to me, performed way beyond expectations.
Oh,
And
yeah.
well, for
Agreed.
the general public at least.
Yeah.
And I think comparing just some of his earlier plays and games versus kind of near the end, he developed a lot better field vision, in my opinion. You
Okay.
could just see where he was like, okay, I can settle down, I can check down, I can do things like that. And I think I watched some of his interviews where he even talked about that, where he said, like as time has gone on, I've been able to actually understand that I can sit back in the pocket for a minute and
Yeah.
try to read the field. So
Yeah.
again, like I said, for me, it would probably be, I guess, if I had to put a letter on it, a B minus. Like I said, demonstrates competency with a potential for improvement and maybe a
Okay.
need for improvement.
Okay, guys, wasn't expecting that at all.
Right.
Courtney
So,
is a lot nicer than I am at this position. You gave what was that, a B? You said?
I would say like a B minus.
Okay, B
Well, and
minus.
here's why: a B minus when you consider the situation that we were in. Now, I'll put it this
Okay.
way: if we were at Alabama, or you know what, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, you're saying this." If we were at Clemson
Yeah.
and we were on our, umpteenth year of a head coach who's taken us to conference title games, national championship things, I
Yeah.
would maybe have a harsher grade for our quarterbacks.
Okay.
But considering what we were thrown, and even what these quarterbacks were thrown into, there was
Yeah.
no guarantee of an offensive identity. They couldn't come in and say, okay, yes, I'm definitely going to study this type of offense and be ready, and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the other thing is too, they're coming from very vastly different programs and getting mushed together and
That
having
is,
to
yeah,
suddenly
agreed.
work
I can
together.
agree with that for sure.
So that's why I think I'm a little bit kinder.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So we've done the sunshine and rainbows grade.
Yeah. Now let's go
Let's
to the
go,
dark side.
Professor Snape. What do you have to say?
Quarterbacks. I gave them a C minus. C minus there. I wanted to go with a D, but what's been going on? What has happened? Excuse me. I felt a little bad, obviously. Uh, a grad assistant starting. I mean that tells you a lot right there. That obviously there was a lot going on in our quarterback room. Not good. That is. We were never consistent at the position. You know that. We all know that. And injuries. Those were the three main things I feel that kind of slowed us down a lot at that position. Jason Brown just came out of nowhere, like you said. I want to say he's 2-2 as a Carolina quarterback this season. He beat Florida,
Right.
Auburn, and lost to Clemson and Vanderbilt. But it's hard because that position we really needed to step up. But I can't say that a lot about them. It's mainly the offensive line who we needed to step up, and they really didn't do that this season. So I'll go with a C with quarterbacks. Was
Oh,
gonna go
you
with
bumped it up a little bit. Hey, look,
yeah, yeah,
C's
yeah,
get
yeah.
degrees.
Yeah, that is true. Passing grade for the quarterbacks. Now
Right.
to the
Yeah.
running backs. What do you got for the running backs?
So I really struggled with this. I think it's in the kind of the same logic that you're talking about, where it's like how much do you fault the running backs for the offensive line struggling?
Yes.
And the other piece of this too is like how much do you fault the running backs for the constant change in offensive identity? And I know a lot of this has to do with the fact that we were facing defenses that give us a lot of looks. And again, too, Beamer just made literally, I called it a collage because there's literally just people, like it
Yeah.
reminded me of like a middle school girls class where she's like, well, I got this from this magazine and this is from a newspaper and this is from this. And so it's this whole team that's just been put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kind of force puzzle pieces to fit together from different puzzles. And so for me, I think I'm going to give them a B minus as well, because
Okay.
I was a little, there were some pleasant surprises. It's hard to grade because again, you don't know how healthy or injured Harris was. You don't
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
And then you've got oh my gosh, I cannot believe I cannot think of his name.
Lloyd. Marshawn, you're talking about?
Marshawn Lloyd. First,
Zaquandre White?
I always want to say Marshawn
Sean
Lynch.
Lynch. Hey,
Yeah, I
that
know.
is so funny you said that because I tweeted this a while ago. I was like, God, I always want to call him Marshawn Lynch, like
Gosh,
literally.
yeah.
But I
So
mean,
there are some things. It's Marshawn Lloyd, and I specifically think of the Missouri game, which I know is not his strongest moment, where he had the fumble, and
yeah,
then a few quarters later there was the really crucial missed block that led to Brown getting sacked. But
yeah,
it's amazing. Then that next game, um, while he maybe didn't perform in ways that you would see in stats, but he
yeah,
made some really crucial blocks. He picked himself up and he improved that next week. So I take that back. I'll
yeah.
do a B plus because the thing is you
Okay.
got to take White is in his own place. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
for sure.
When you
He
do that,
came
yeah.
out towards the end of the season. I
This
was
is yeah.
very impressed with him. Very impressed.
It's hard to grade on the group project kind of deal because it's you kind of have to
Oh,
put
yeah,
White in his own category as you do with all of them. But anyway, yeah, I would say definitely this is not just potential for improvement, but a need for improvement. But
yeah,
again, it's difficult for me to pass judgment because I don't know how much of it was injury. I don't know how much of it was okay. Well, this week we're going to be doing more RPO kind of stuff and
yeah, yeah,
our offensive line is struggling to create a gap for me, and
yeah. It
there's stuff like that.
was
So I
no,
want to hear
I
your
hear you.
thoughts. I'm gonna pass. I'm passing. I'm giving this one to you.
So you said B plus for the running backs.
Yes.
So I'm going B plus just off talent at that position. Their
That's fair.
performance, I would say a C plus. And it sucks that I'm giving them a C plus because, like I said, I give them overall as a talented group a B plus. But
Mm-hmm.
we just didn't get a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Yardage.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like we just didn't
See,
get a
there's the
lot out
difference.
of.
You're gonna say a real word, and I'm like pizzazz.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like that. I like that. But we
Yeah.
just didn't get a lot out of them. And then you know what? It's really wasn't their fault. We just this goes back to what I was talking about with the quarterbacks, the offensive line. We didn't get a lot out of them at all. So
Mm-hmm.
it sucks because I don't even think we had one running back that eclipsed 600 yards on this season. So Quandre White might have been very close, but I just don't think so. I mean, we have three running backs that I feel that could have rushed for 1,000 yards this year, easily.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's the weird thing is. Let me ask you this.
okay,
And I want to say, I feel like this is probably, you're going to be in the same thought process with me on this.
okay,
If we had, to me, at the beginning of this season, I thought this conversation that we would be having right now would be, yeah, we only won 4 games, but man, our running backs killed it this year. And our offensive line just did, we just couldn't quite put some stuff together at the end. But
yeah,
man, can you believe the yardage that this person got? Or can you believe the yards this player got? Shoot, only won 4 games, but can you believe the
yeah,
productivity? Maybe that's the word we're looking for, the productivity that our running
yeah.
backs put on the field and
No,
that our
for
offensive
sure.
line did. And so it's just so odd that we're having this other conversation that's, hey, we're headed to a bowl that gets
Yeah,
played on December 30th in a major city.
yeah.
And has a very high social media following. So it's a good bowl to go to. I know a lot of people are bummed about only being in Charlotte, but it's just weird that we're kind of
I
having this
mean,
opposite conversation of man,
yeah.
little disappointed in our running backs, but we're going to a bowl.
I mean, going back to what you were just saying, would you rather have your running backs all perform well and you win 4 games, or would you rather take a 6-win season and go to a bowl game? Hell yeah, I would rather take a 6-win season and go to a bowl game. We could have been sitting on the couch for the rest of the month, not having a Gamecock game to look forward to, but now we do. Like you said, December 30th. So, yeah, like I said, I love our running backs. I wish they could have, shown out a little bit more, but really, when you don't have the holes or the gaps to get through, then you really have no choice but to get tackled in the backfield. So
Right.
I gave them a C plus, and that's on performance. But
Right.
as the group, I give them a B plus for sure. Wide receivers, where you at with wide receivers?
No comment.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're skipping that one, or
No,
you got
no,
some?
no, no. So I graded them room for improvement for sure. I mean, but again, you had these. It's one of those things too where if it were not for our wide receivers, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. As far
Yeah.
as going to a bowl game, that sort of thing. So they definitely performed when they needed to. But
Josh
there were a
Van
lot of
performed when he needed to. Yeah.
okay, so maybe I
I,
shouldn't say they.
yeah, I was waiting for you to correct that, but I was like, I got her. I got her.
Yeah. No, but it's one of those things where they actually did. I mean, and I kind of I'm going to lump the tight ends with this as well.
Okay.
Lots of great blocking. Lots of the other thing is too that you have to consider is that we're facing off against SEC secondaries that
Yeah.
are very good
And very
and
fast as well.
yes, and they're all on the upswing, and that's the problem is a lot of people want to compare last year's I can't what do we win? 3 games, 3-win season, but some of
Two
our
wins last year.
okay, 2 see.
Yeah, even worse.
I romanticize the past, what can I say?
Okay. That,
So but anyway, they want to compare our performances again, like taking the wins and losses out of it, the performances that our receiver core had last year, offensive line performed last year, et cetera.
yeah,
We were also playing different SEC teams then as well. People were
yeah,
down. We played them at different times of the season, et cetera.
yeah.
And so that's the thing too is it's hard for me. That's why I'm just going to put room for improvement here.
Okay.
I don't want to give a letter grade on it because again, it's just
No.
this whole season has to have perspective. And you made such a great point when you said, look, from a talent perspective, this is where we should be.
For sure.
Unfortunately, our performance is here. And I think that's actually just going to be my answer for
Oh,
the rest of the offensive report
gotcha.
card. I'm going to let
Okay.
you take it from here.
Gotcha. Wide receivers. I gave them a C, but I gave Josh Fan a B. Josh Fan had an amazing season. Kind of broke out. No one saw that coming at all. We needed a receiver to emerge out of the group. We were hoping it was going to be the carry on. That didn't happen. Otrey Smith, he transferred. Leggett didn't really have a good season. Who's the guy? We had another guy that transferred. This is going to kill me. Kerry Caldwell. There we go. He just transferred. I want to say this happened last week. But yeah, the wide receiver play it was rough this year, guys. Thank God Josh Fan, and news broke today that he is coming back next season. So that is very good to have him coming back for sure to help improve that wide receiver room. So
Right.
I give them a C as a group, but Josh Fan obviously I gave him a B. So.
Mhm.
Offensive line. This is a topic I would like to skip, but if you want to talk a little bit on it, we can.
That's why I said a second ago, I was like, look, I think that you made the greatest point in that our talent grade is here. Our score is
Yeah.
actually here. And again, I think just the biggest thing for me is I'll always be defensive of like players and coaches and all that
Oh, of
sort of thing.
course,
But like
100%.
but I will just say, I think the biggest thing that was difficult, and again, I don't necessarily put this on the coaches either, because again,
Yeah.
like I've talked about, we put a lot of people together from a transfer portal. We put a lot of people together that didn't necessarily choose Beamer as their head coach, but chose to stay. Like I said, like we put together pieces of a puzzle that were from different boxes.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to say, this is our offensive identity. This is who we are. This is what we're doing every week. We're going to run it down your throat, or we're going to pass it at will. We're going to be a spread it and throw it, or we're going to be more of a pro style. And so I think when you don't have that big picture of this is who we are,
we didn't have a true identity.
It's really hard as a 19-year-old offensive lineman to adjust to that every single week. And then on top of that, when you look across the line of scrimmage and the guy that you're facing off against has about 120 pounds and 6 inches on you, you're like, well, daggone,
like Jordan Davis, the defensive lineman for the Bulldogs. It's
right.
It's literally insane how big that guy is. Like literally, it's insane. But yeah,
so that's I just
can
don't think it's fair to give him a grade.
I understand what you're saying, but where I'm coming from, Courtney, last season we had 1,000-yard rusher in Kevin Harris. We lost one offensive lineman last season. I don't understand how one offensive lineman made that much of a difference on this offensive line that we had this year. I don't
Right.
understand. I never will. But
Right. Well, you
hopefully,
could also make the argument we had more of an identity this year than we did last year from an
yeah,
offensive perspective,
yeah,
too.
because
So,
people thought we were
so
going to
there
run the
goes my
ball nonstop.
argument.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're okay, and I pretty much say this every episode. We are not a passing team. We're going to run it down your throat, uh, get 100 yards, whatever, a game type of team. And we were
Right.
not that this year. So yeah, we ran away from the identity that we developed or developed, yeah, last season to a team that we were passing, we were doing this, we were doing that. We were kind of everywhere, you know.
Right.
And that's
To
what you were
quote,
just talking about earlier. So
yeah, to quote every old man in the stadium in the middle 2000s, run the damn ball, Spurrier.
That's perfect. That's
But
perfect.
if you
That's
think about
perfect.
it, like you make a really solid point, and I think like for me, because I love passing teams, I'm in denial about this. But you're right, South Carolina as a whole, historically, they are a running team, and if we're going to be
Yeah.
successful, we need to build the type of team
Yeah.
that could just run it down your
Bring in those
throat.
type of players. Yes.
Literally just run the same 2 or 3 plays over and over again and just destroy your defensive line's confidence.
Yeah.
And so I mean, when
100.
we had an offense built around Marcus Lattimore, we were going to Atlanta. So you make a
Yeah.
solid point. I just
Yeah.
don't know how to think about that because I want to be the flashy.
Were you in Atlanta for that game, by the way?
I was in Atlanta for both games.
Okay. Nice.
So
Nice.
Auburn
Nice.
and then turn around and lose to FSU. That was
Oh, okay. I was
yeah.
like, whoa, whoa.
That's
You
right.
said
That's why
both
I said that.
games.
That's why I said that painfully. Is because
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
here
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
then came back.
Okay. Gotcha.
I will never go back to Atlanta and I. We don't get along.
Yeah. No. That's why you moved to the West Coast.
Right.
Get away from Atlanta. Get far away from Atlanta.
Which is a shame because I love Outcast, but I guess I'm
That's about the only good thing that's come out of Atlanta, in your point.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, offensive line, I gave them a D. That's being nice.
As
Okay,
in
moving on
destroyed
to
them.
let's go let's go ahead to the defensive side of the ball. My favorite unit, excuse me, the defensive line. Where did you go there, Courtney?
A-, actually.
Oh,
And I don't even think I have to explain myself on that. I think they did
yeah,
really well
yeah,
holding against some really impressive teams this year. And while some of those games ended up being losses, by the way, Missouri doesn't count. That was just it was cold outside.
Missouri's
Missouri's a
always a
very
weird game.
odd place. They don't
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
eat grits there. It's very odd. Anyway, it's an
Wow.
off place. It's an off place. So I don't count that game. So taking
Okay.
that game out of it, yeah, A- for sure.
Okay. I went with a B plus with the defensive line. I feel like they were the most consistent unit on our team. That is offense and defense. Was very proud of them. Really was. We're. I feel like we've always had a solid defensive line. I feel like I might be missing a year or two where we were bad on defense, but we've always had those big name recruits on the defensive lines. Going back, I'm going back to 2010, 2011. Obviously, Clowney, Quarles, Brian Gerardo. So you can go back a little further, maybe.
That's
Yeah.
what I was saying.
She's like, okay,
Going back.
2010. Come on, man, really?
Oh man.
No, but I'm just saying. I feel like we've always been pretty solid up front on the
Mhm.
defensive side of the ball, for sure.
Well,
So,
even back to the Lou Holtz era, there were so many games and I think I made a tweet at the beginning of this season where I was like, wow, this year is going to be a lot of get up by a little bit and
yeah,
sit on it and just hope our defense can continue to
defense.
sit
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, yeah,
That which is just to me, that was like classic Lou Holtz era football was
yeah.
just our offensive can do this much. So we've got to
Pray
really
the
rely on
defense
our
can
defense
hold.
doing
Yeah,
this much. And most of the time they could. So,
yeah,
good for
makes
them.
sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry about the 2009 on. Should have gone a little earlier for you.
Whoa, hold on. Which is just hilarious because I'm sure you're familiar with the Rubber Chickens blog.
Yes.
So Buck, I was having a conversation with him one time too, and I made some reference to Ryan Brewer, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
going back a ways. He just
Wow.
laughed at me, and he was like, that is not even close to going back a
Oh,
ways.
wow. Okay. So this happened to you as
Yeah.
well. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So now it has come full circle.
Okay. Well, so we're pretty high on the defensive line. You said
Yes,
A.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, A minus.
A
Yeah.
minus. Okay. And I went with a B plus. How about linebackers? Where you at there?
B plus.
B
And
plus.
again, I
Okay.
think I think it's kind of the same thing, self-explanatory. There were some times that I think that they're actually, you know what? I'll give them an A minus, and here's why. There are a lot of times
Okay.
that their effort and not that they're not talented,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think that their effort actually exceeded their level of talent.
Okay.
Or what they were, or I should say what they were working with. I think as the years go
Okay.
on, they're going to be one of the strongest, like core on. They're going to be one of the strongest groups on our team. There's
Nice.
a lot of
Okay.
potential there. There's a lot of freshmen that are going to develop, and I think that are going to be really great.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and be
feel
really gap sound, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel Debo is one of those players. Debo Williams, he's Marshawn's buddy. They came from the same high school over there in Delaware. I
Mhm,
feel like, yeah, I feel like linebacker that position is going to be strong. I gave them
mhm,
a B minus. I thought they did very well without Sherrod Green, who we lost the Georgia game
mhm.
to a terrible leg injury. I can't recall exactly what it was, but yeah, no, I feel like they're going to be solid for years to come, for sure. If Beamer can continue to pull in these high caliber players that he
Absolutely.
has done in his first recruiting cycle, that's not even done yet.
But what's
So,
nice is I do think that like there's so much more that they have, and it's true. It's really hard to develop in the small amount of time that
yeah.
they were given, which is another reason why I'm very thankful for this bowl game, because it gives them an excuse to develop another,
Yeah,
5.
you got 10 to 15 extra practices.
Right.
So,
So yeah, so I really feel like it's one of those things where like my grade for them is more just, it's not a letter, but it's like can't wait till
yeah,
next season on those
yeah,
guys for
for
sure.
sure, for sure. Okay, how about the last position, defensive backs? Where you at there?
So I'm gonna say like somewhere between a B minus and a B plus, so B. A B
Okay,
for effort. A B for effort.
I'm there at B as well.
Yeah.
Very underrated group. I thought they performed well this season. That
Mhm.
was the group that I was most skeptical about in the beginning of the season. I was just like, don't know what we're gonna get from these guys, but I
Right.
felt like they definitely held their own. Cam Smith, a very underrated corner. I thought he had a very, very good season.
Mhm.
Jalen Foster, obviously, Mr. First Team All American.
Right.
How many interceptions he had? I want to say 5 or 6, maybe.
I think it's 6. I'm pretty sure
Okay,
it's 6.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane though. That's good.
Mhm.
And Jamar Brown, who had the infamous meme, who is actually
Right.
transferring, and I'm a little upset about that. I did not see that
Yeah.
coming at all. So
I didn't either. I was honestly, it was one of those things when I first saw it on Twitter earlier today. I was like, "Ugh, this is just a message board thing.
yeah,
Can't be true." And then,
it
reliable news
it
sources
didn't
revealed
happen. Yeah,
that was just
yeah.
wishful thinking. But yeah, so
Well,
you know what? I might actually bump it up to a B plus.
okay.
But it's one of those things too where you have to, as a group, it's just very difficult to give a score because you have these people who did do super well, and you have these other people who work. You could tell that their effort just,
Effort. Yes.
and I don't want to say lack of talent because that's not what I'm saying there. I want to
Yeah.
try to figure out a way to word this. Their effort made up for being a little mismatched with other teams' players that came in.
Okay. Yeah.
Because because when you think about facing off against, I know that Georgia doesn't necessarily have like the number one wide receiver core in the country, but they do have very good wide receivers. And I hate to
They
say
do.
this, but so does Clemson, so does Kentucky, so do all these teams that the teams that they kind of, which Kentucky we did really well against.
Yeah.
But
16 points.
yep.
I mean, that's solid for the defense. I mean, so
Yeah. So, but it's one of those things where it's hard to give them a score because
okay.
in several ways they were unevenly matched against receiver cores that had multiple years
Yeah.
competing in the SEC under
Yeah.
their belt. and a lot
Yeah.
of these guys were new. And
Yeah.
so yeah, they did well. So I think I am going to bump it up to a B plus for
Okay.
sure. Because a lot of times too, like one thing I really like about Cam Smith is that he's fast, but he's not necessarily the fastest guy on the field. But
Yeah.
he has the ability to read the field and know his angles, and he can run at that angle and make sure that he's there where he needs to be at the right
Yeah.
moment. Which
He
was that's you can coach that, but you can't coach that.
yeah. He was a player in the beginning of the season that I was like, okay, Cam, you're the guy back there. Like, we
Right.
need you to step up big time. And he did it very quietly. He wasn't, like Jamar Brown, the meme, or he wasn't like Jalen Foster getting 6 interceptions or anything like that. He did
Mhm.
it quietly, and he had a very solid season for the most part, I feel. So
Yeah, he
overall,
kind of
I
reminds
mean,
me of a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, no,
I'm
no. I
embarrassed
was
about
just
that.
wrapping up the defense. Who does he remind you of?
So we'll go back a little ways, but this is
Okay,
this
all
is
right.
your
So
version of
not
going back. So
2010.
no, this is around. This will be right. So it's 2010. Devin Taylor is one of the
Okay.
reasons why Jadeveon Clowney. Now Jadeveon Clowney, yes, very talented and would have been prolific on his own.
Yeah.
But Devin Taylor was that quiet support that allowed
Yes.
Jadeveon to do the
I
things that he
like that
did
comparison. I like that
because you
comparison a
could
lot.
always count on him to do exactly what he was supposed to do for that play.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
rarely did he, and granted, we're talking defensive line, and this is defensive backs, but it's kind of
Yeah.
that same thing where Cam Smith was just very quiet. Like if you look at his stats, you're like, wow, that's impressive. And if you go back to look at film and you say, you know what, he was where he was supposed to be,
Yeah.
which allowed Foster to have the disruptions that he had, and it allowed for
Yes.
a lot of stuff to happen. So that's what he reminds me a lot of Devin Taylor in that he's a little bit of an unsung hero of that,
Okay.
group.
Like I mentioned, I really like that comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, but to wrap it up on the defense, I give them a B as a whole. I thought they performed really well this season. They did all they can do with a struggling offense. The Kentucky game, we should have won. I'm sorry, but if you give me that game back, and we play this Saturday, we beat Kentucky at home. Not even a question.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. What was another close one? Wow, this is gonna kill me here.
Well, really, honestly, and I bring up Missouri again. It wasn't necessarily. I mean, the score
Yeah, that was
close
just such a
because
weird game. Kind of like what you brought up earlier.
it just was
So
the whole. It just was an odd. Everything about it was
yeah,
just odd. So, and
yeah,
I think again, it's that same thing where if we were to play this Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, whatever, literally any other Saturday, but that
yeah.
Saturday, I think it would have been fine. I think it just was an odd day.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I just don't think it matched what our potential was
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
agreed. No, totally agree there. Okay, guys, that's the Gamecock report card. Wow, that actually lasted a long time, which is
I'm so
fine.
sorry.
No, no, no. I just love sitting here talking Gamecock football. I'm totally fine with that. Now we're going to jump into the UNC breakdown here. UNC finished 6-6, 3-5 in the ACC. You would consider this a down year for them. They played 4 ranked teams: NC State, Notre Dame, Pitt, and Wake Forest. They went 1-3, and yeah, they went 1-3. Excuse me. Their offense, though, I'm going to tell you guys that they can score. They got some playmakers on the offensive side of the ball for sure, averaging 36 points a game. I'm sure you guys know the name Sam Howell. Amazing, really good quarterback. We were actually waiting for him to announce would he even play in this game, but he did come out yesterday saying he would play.
I
So
know.
that
I was
sucks.
really hoping he would be
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
to
more
sit.
selfish.
Yeah, sit out. Prepare for the combine and whatnot. But no, he's gonna play.
Mhm.
Um, Sam Howell, guys, he almost passed for 3,000 yards this year, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, uh, 11 touchdowns rushing. What is that? 825 yards rushing. 825 yards rushing for a quarterback. So this guy's Mr. Do It All from what it sounds like. But Why are they
Yeah.
6
Well,
and
we
6
helped him
though?
discover himself a couple of years ago, didn't
Yeah,
we?
yeah,
Yeah.
we did. Yeah.
That's what
I like how
I'm
you
still
brought
waiting
that
for
up.
a thank you letter from him.
Yeah. But like I said, guys, they do have playmakers. Obviously, Sam Howell. They have Ty Chandler. Think you guys are familiar with him. He was an ex-Tennessee running back, transferred to North Carolina. He rushed for over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Their number one receiver, Josh Downs, 98 receptions, 1,273 yards on the season, 8 touchdowns. They got playmakers. Defense is going to
They
have their
do.
work cut out for them for sure. But you know,
And I think we just got done establishing we're gonna have to lean on our defense a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
that we've had to do that all season. But I I really feel like we can slow them down a little bit. Contain Sam Howell, obviously. Don't let him get outside the pocket and rush and run around like he's been doing all season. Defensive line should be able to take care of Ty Chandler, the running back. Um, yeah, like I said, this is going to be a different monster for sure. I don't like the matchup personally, but I feel like we can win this ball game if we play mistake-free football. That is.
Yeah,
So
it just it makes me feel icky inside, which is I think it's
yeah.
actually fitting that this is the mayonnaise bowl because actually how I feel or like how I felt when they said they were doing this matchup, it's like I feel like I just ate a spoonful of mayonnaise.
No.
It's
Oh.
like this is how I feel
Wow.
about this particular matchup
Wow.
right now.
What are your thoughts on this matchup we have here?
So I think you highlighted a lot of what I guess like the listeners need to know about UNC. But I think one of the
Yeah.
things that I think I'll add to what you said, because you and I are kind of in agreement on this, that this is going to be, we don't want it to be because it's one of those things where, they are an ACC team. And
Yeah.
to me, really, they're kind of on the level that Missouri is. And so that's what makes me
Okay.
nervous about this is one of those things where it's like, we really should perform well in this game.
Yeah.
Um, and even like it's actually kind of a Kentucky thing too, where it's like it's not just going to take us performing well. We're going to have some things go our way as
Yeah.
well and play really smart football.
Agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
but and this is again not necessarily a crack on Satterfield. I don't think I've seen enough of him coaching with an established offense.
Yeah.
But I think you'll understand when I say this. Phil Longo and Coach Satterfield, if they were to play an offensive game of chess, right now I would say that Phil would win the game.
Okay.
From
I like that.
so I just because mainly, and this is not so much out of disrespect for Satterfield as it is for my respect for Longo. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I
Yeah.
think that he is really good at being able to look at defenses and get creative with what makes them tick and how to make his offense work.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where, and I'm a homer. This is the deal. I'm I'm a South Carolina fan. At the end of the day, they are performing really well in the ACC, and it's a little bit
Yeah.
easier to perform really well in the ACC
Then
than
it
it
is the
is.
SEC.
Yeah, where we are.
Agreed.
They're not as physical. And that is the one
No.
thing I will say for our defense. We're a little bit more physical, and hopefully that'll break them down, like you talked about, to slow them down a little bit more.
Yes.
But I think the biggest key to the game is that we see some kind of massive improvement for the offensive line.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it's possible. I really do.
Okay.
They've had time to rest. They've had time to kind of evaluate. They're sitting there. That's the thing is like we talk about right now, we're giving them a report card.
They're
All of those
hearing that.
players,
Yeah.
well, and all of those players are giving themselves much harsher grades than we would ever give them.
Yeah.
They're the
For
ones
sure.
playing the game. They're the ones on the field. They're not only playing for their team or their school, but also their families and their pride. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones on the field. And they're playing
Yeah.
for all the time that they've spent the past season, the preseason, and now the postseason. So I think it's possible
Yeah.
that they have a better performance. But I think that's going to be the big key to the game is we have to keep our defense off the field because, like you said,
Yeah.
Sam Howell will wear you out in
Yeah.
the air and on the ground.
When I saw those
Yeah.
stats, yesterday, I sat there and I was just like, "You have to be kidding!" This guy literally has 825 yards rushing. To me, is what stands out the most. I didn't even know he moved around that much, But yeah, the guys are going to have the defense. Excuse me, is going to have their work cut out for them. Mike, then that goes to my key to the game. Stop Sam Howell. We got to bring pressure and we got to disrupt his rhythm. That's going to be tough. But like you brought this up earlier, the ACC and the SEC are two different animals. You got two different style of players, in my opinion. So yeah, our defensive line is going to have to be disruptive this game for sure. Your biggest question though this game, what you got?
Oh gosh, for this game,
Yes.
I think it's can our running backs step again? It's it's going to go back to the offensive line and the running backs.
Yeah.
Can they step up so that it allows Josh Van and our wide receiver core to kind of come in as, I like to call them as like fun sprinkles on drives. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like a fun little sprinkle.
That I've never heard that before, but I'll take it.
Actually, you know what? I take this back. My big question is going to be, are we going to realize, and oh gosh, that just sounds so negative. I don't mean it that way. But my dad's favorite saying is always this: the crossers are always open on offense. Okay. The crossers are always the little under crossers.
Okay.
And I would like to take advantage of that more. So that's going to be my question is like, are we going to take advantage of the crossers?
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll take that. I'm trying to
figure out a way to word that without sounding like I think I'm some great offensive genius. But yeah, because again, I haven't seen enough of real Satterfield football to know whether or not, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I don't want to pass judgment.
Well, you brought up this earlier, a chess match between Longo and Satterfield,
Right.
And who would win that chess match? And it would be Longo. This game's gonna be, like I said, this game's gonna be tough. My question is, can we move the ball offensively? Can the offensive line, like you said, finally show up? And we have these running backs that can go for, I don't know, 100 whatever yards a game, because we're not playing an SEC opponent here. We're playing UNC. UNC's defense is, I'm not going to say they're awful, but they're really not the best. I want to say they're last in a lot of statistics in the conference, the ACC conference. So if this was a game for us to get the offensive line going, this has to be it. Right. But then again, Courtney, I said this against ECU. I said this against Troy.
Missouri.
Missouri. I just don't know. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And we won't be able to find that out for 2 weeks here. But hopefully, they're getting these bowl practices in and they're ready to go December 30th, which is a Thursday, I believe, isn't it?
I believe. Yes. That sounds right.
Yeah, it's a Thursday.
I will say the difference between like the ECU and the Troy game is there's a lot more riding on it at the beginning of the season for those teams, right? They've come in, they've worked all summer, they've worked all summer. This could be a feather in their cap that they're beating an SEC team. And this is the deal. We're now to the end of the season. And it's like you said, we're waiting to see what players will and won't play in the bowl games because they're looking ahead to the NFL. So hopefully that'll be to our advantage that a lot of these UNC players are thinking, well, it's just South Carolina. This isn't something, we've
that's what I was thinking Sam Howell was thinking. So right. But, unfortunately he wanted to come back and play for some odd reason. But I think it is what it is.
The last time he played us.
Yeah. It is what it is. We'll take it. We'll be fine. Okay, so how about your final score for this game? What you got?
So
think a little bit on this.
I'm superstitious, and
I am as well.
Every time I've ever publicly predicted a numerical final score, we have done horribly. So I'm going to say that we will win by 2 possessions.
Okay. I like that because I really do like that because I was giving scores earlier in the season too on the episodes, and every time I gave a score, we lost. So I was just like, you know what? I'm done doing this. I'm going to go by possessions or like 3 points or a touchdown or whatnot. I say we win this game by a touchdown. I'm not going to give a score, but I say we win this game by a touchdown. Excuse me, a touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at,
No.
and I'm sticking with it. So
That's you and I are of the same mind.
nah. All right, guys. Our last portion of this episode. I promise you, we're almost done. Listener questions. We're gonna start with Josh Van Buren, Twitter handle. What's the status and future of Satterfield and Atkins? Josh. So, from what I've been hearing, I haven't really told anybody this. Satterfield pretty much is gone. Satterfield is pretty much done. I'm hearing it could be after the bowl game. I was hoping it was going to be before the bowl game, but from what I'm hearing, he's pretty much done. I was thinking Beamer was giving him a chance to find a job first and then let him go, but I was told that's not the case. So I do not expect Satterfield to be with us after the bowl game. Atkins, I haven't heard anything on Atkins. I believe he will be staying here for next season.
I would
So
like
yeah,
him to stay.
I like Atkins. I actually got
I'm
to
saying
meet
I'm
him. Nice
probably
guy.
going to get some nasty tweets, but
Yeah.
from a recruiting standpoint, the way he treats, from what I've heard from anecdotal stories that have been brought to me, he is extremely thoughtful when dealing with high school and even high school coaches from small schools that really don't mean anything. He will still go out of his way to make them feel welcome at the football facilities if they're ever visiting, anytime there's open practice, anything like that. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to recruiting, because it's one of those things where Beamer can preach all day, oh, we're a family core group, we're, love this, brotherhood, that. But then if you have coaches that come in and they act like that it's some huge favor to you to shake their hand, that doesn't fit that narrative. And so Atkins at least lives out that narrative of the culture that Beamer's trying to build here. So, and granted, I know we should be focusing on stats and winning games and stuff like that, but I think a lot of that takes care of itself. Atkins knows what he's doing, So
I agree.
I'm in the Atkins camp.
I do like Atkins as well. I feel like this is more on Satterfield than it is Atkins. I just thought Satterfield's schemes were just too complicated for the offensive line to grasp and pick up. That's why they struggled so much this season. That's just my opinion. I don't know that, obviously, but to answer your question, Josh, yes, I do see him definitely gone after this season. Moving on to Wilson Miller. Will Satterfield be fired? This seems like a very popular question within Gamecocks football. Yes, I do see that happening, like I mentioned earlier. And moving to Chris Phillips. Would you eat an entire jar of mayonnaise if it mean we beat UNC? Chris, I have a meme of mine on Twitter, one of my favorite memes. I don't know if you've seen American Idol. It's of a guy named Randy Jackson. And every time someone performed really bad, he said, "That's a no for me, dog." There's my answer.
If it meant that we would win the game now, but I would also like to add a little piece to it. Like, we would have to really win the game, like a no doubter blowout sort of thing.
Okay.
I would eat a jar of mayonnaise.
Okay, so I misread that. I'm sorry.
It would kill my soul. It would kill my soul. It would get, like, honest, because like that's probably the least Southern thing about me. Mayonnaise, while I love the taste of it, it actually makes me sick. So I can have it in very small portions.
Small portion. Gotcha.
Oh my gosh, I would be tasting it twice. But I would do it. I do it if it meant we win.
So I definitely misinterpreted that. Sorry, Chris. Would I eat it? Okay. I don't think I still would do it. I don't like mayonnaise like that. That's just too much. A jar of mayonnaise. I love Carolina football, but thanks for the question though. So
right.
But
so I know we're running a little over, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Do we have any more listener questions?
That is it. We are done with listener questions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I have a fun, and hopefully whoever's, lasted this long with us. So my fun listener question is this. As we know, Brian Kelly has suddenly magically developed a Southern accent. So
Oh God.
Let's randomly, this will be really fun. Let's randomly pick a head coach and decide what accent it would be fun for them to just randomly adopt. So let's go like
Okay.
Lane Kiffin, for instance. What
Okay.
what
Wow.
accent would you like to hear him randomly adopt?
Lane Kiffin. Uh I
I
don't.
would love to see
Oh
him
man,
do
now
like
you're
a
putting me on the
French
spot here.
accent.
You
Like,
said French?
yeah.
You can see that with him though. You really could see that with him. Like, just making fun of someone, just having fun or whatnot, or really drunk, talking like that.
Right.
Um, so here, I'm gonna give you a coach. How about Ed
Okay.
Ogeron? What type of where would you go with him? I think that would be a
Oh
funny
my
one
gosh.
to pick a
To see him try to pick up an accent?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let me see. For him to try to pick up one, I'd love to see him try to do like a really proper English accent. But
Oh
I think it
God.
would be really funny just to see out of his body,
Yeah.
like if he could do it perfectly, like out of his body. I would love to see him do like a little Greek lady.
Oh my
Because
God.
because my
Wow.
grandmother's
You
best friend,
really
my
went
yaya,
there.
yeah, I just because it just would be like just a little bit like it would have to be like the high pitched and like the so my yaya every time I call her, she was like, "Why do you know come see me?" And then I just want to hear him do something like that.
I would pay
Or
to
like
see
or
something like
Irish.
that.
So, all right, now
Literally
Mike
pay.
Leach.
Mike Leach. Oh, that guy, he's just a character as it is. I don't even think he
Right.
needs, like, oh my God, I'm so glad he came to the SEC though. Oh my God, he is
Ugh, yeah.
awesome guy, awesome guy. But I'm trying to think here. Who? I don't know. I don't know on this one. Spanish?
I don't know. Well, here,
No.
we'll pose it. Actually, the listeners ask us questions. Let's ask them a question. If Mike Leach, and this is just to hear him attempt it. Doesn't have to be
Okay.
that it's going to be perfect. But what accent would you like to hear Mike Leach attempt? And then we can also do Lane Kiffin. And we'll see what
Yeah.
people tweet back and we'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Tweet. Yeah. There you go. Okay. I
Yeah,
like
there
that. I
we go.
like that.
We're posing it to the listeners.
I like it. I like it. Guys,
Time to
oh
do
my
some
God.
work.
Thank thank you so much for tuning in to this lengthy episode 92. Courtney, it's been so fun having you on. You will definitely be coming back. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that. Um, we will be back here, guys, after the new year. I want to say the first week of January, and we will break down recruiting, what's going on, some players. There's a couple of players that we're looking at. 4-star tight end. I'm not going to say his name right now, but he's also looking at Ohio State right now, so I'm not really happy about that. So we'll wait and see. January, National Signing Day, and all that mess, which is coming up. So yeah. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. Courtney, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being
Yes.
patient with me. I talk a lot.
On that note, guys, go Cox.